Hello, hello. Welcome to Newbies to Movies. I'm Tyler,
And I'm Justin, the movie guy.
and this is a podcast where we like to talk about new movies centered around some director, actor, or genre. This week being centered around none other than himself, Jordan Peele. A short filmography for himself, but he's got his own production company now, and one of the best horror directors living now, and hopefully makes movies in the future, even though nothing's officially announced. But before we do that, we're just going to get into what we've been watching for the past week. So, Justin, if you want to start off.
Yeah, I started Devil Wears Prada 2. I didn't get to finish it quite yet, but I just recently watched the first one not too long ago, and the second one's a pretty good start. I mean, obviously at the end of the movie, you're kind of like the end of the first one. You're like, how are we supposed to have a second one from here? But it's a pretty good story, pretty big time jump. I like it so far. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I remember seeing that in theaters, and I liked like the fashion part of it all. I like the first one a lot more, but I still thought it was a pretty good sequel. That was kind of concerning of like, oh, they're just doing this for a money grab.
Yeah.
Still think it was for a money grab, but like still a good story to that part of it as well.
Yeah, I also forgot I've been watching X-Men 97, the animated show on Disney Plus. I don't know if you've watched it. I know we'll talk about the X-Men casting this week too,
Yeah,
but it's really good. It's actually a really deep storyline, which is cool that and it gets into a lot of the I'd say like B-tier X-Men that you don't really get to see a lot about. Obviously you would in the comics, but yeah, that's pretty neat. I definitely recommend it to anybody.
yeah, I've wanted to check that one out just because I've heard really good things about it. It's like one of the highest rated Marvel projects I've
Yeah.
seen since DCU's like or Disney's kind of gotten control of them since.
And I'd also say I never watched the X-Men cartoons back in the 90s. I was born in 2001, so never really watched those. And you don't really need to, as long as you know like general X-Men lore of like Magneto's the bad guy and him and Charles Xavier have like a beef friendship kind of thing going on. And you know, like Wolverine's lore, Cyclops lore, all that stuff, you'll be fine.
Yeah, I feel like if I heard right, like each season is its own like kind of storyline,
Yeah,
but you don't need to know what happened in the previous seasons.
exactly.
Okay, cool. Well, I've watched a good amount that I'll go over, of course, like always. So I've been on an M. Night Shyamalan kind of kick. I rewatched Old and The Happening. I don't think these are special movies by any circumstance, but I think I'm just a bigger M. Night Shyamalan director fan than I thought I was. Because I was just like, man, I just enjoyed watching these. I thought they were really fun. He takes a lot of risk with his movies as well. It'd be interesting to go down his realm. He's the
Hmm.
same guy that did Sixth Sense
Yeah.
before. And then I watched a new one of his I hadn't seen before, The Village, and I thought that was like some of the best acting I've seen in any of his movies. Because a big hit on a lot of his movies is the acting is the best, but The Village was really good. It had like Adrian Brody in it, Dallas Bryce Howard, and as well as Joaquin Phoenix, and they're all great. I watched all The Real Girls. So after watching The Happening, I saw Zoe Deschanel, and I was like, I don't want to see her act in more stuff because I it's interested to see. And All the Real Girls is like a really indie movie on Letterboxd, only at 13,000 like watch like people have watched it before. It's an interesting romance about a guy that has slept with a lot of women, but like never been in love, and then falls in love with a woman that isn't been with anybody before, and then he ends up getting heartbroken. Pretty much is what it like revolves around. I finally watched The Graduate. Dustin Hoffman movie came out in the 60s. It's pretty much what made him big. Honestly, I was just shocked. It's like a genuine like masterpiece in filmmaking. And then you can see how the cinematography in that movie people copied to this day. You know, Mrs. Robinson, like the song.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's based off this movie. Like they made it as part of the soundtrack of this movie.
Oh,
And that's why Simon and Garfunkel got so big was because of The Graduate, because their music and like Hello Darkness, My Old Friend is also in the movie,
huh.
like a key plot point. And I
Yeah.
was like, what? I had no idea.
That's neat.
So good. Yeah. Highly recommend it to anybody out there. If you haven't seen it, I know it's a kind of a classic for some people, but for us, it's like, I definitely recommend it.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Yeah. And then 9 Days, it's a story about like a bureaucrat who was a former human, has to choose between like 10 different souls of who gets to choose a life and actually gets to go into a life. Winston Duke, who we're going to talk about today with us, was like this center guy. He was a bureaucrat playing guy, and then follows like these different souls, and he has to like make a hard decision, I guess, but he's like literally acting as a bureaucrat. But then it kind of wraps up into him getting really emotional. Just a really interesting idea to look at like life and what you choose and all that kind of stuff. Is really emotional. Rewatch Obsession. today, it was way better the second time go around. I was like, oh wow. 'Cause originally I gave it 4 out of 5. And I was like, this is good. Rewatched it today, and I was like, okay, yeah, this is like one of the best movies of the year. Just like really true, like original work that Curry Barker's doing with a lot of it. The camera shots, the stuff that he's doing, the lighting, especially when you know how much money was put into it, only 750,000. And the way that he was able to do what he could with the camera and how clear it looks and his story. Yeah, Bear is a horrible villain. Anybody that doesn't understand that he's the villain, major red flags because that guy is a piece of shit.
I the more like the months keep passing and I'm like, there's no chance it doesn't get some sort of Oscar love. Like it's gonna
Dude,
be up there.
I can't talk about it without talking about Indy Navarrete and like her performance, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I don't see any actress outperforming that this year for her to win Best Actress. Like, that was just
There's
insane.
nothing I can point to date. I mean, I haven't seen the drama yet, so I don't really know, but there's nothing I can point to that says she's not gonna win the Oscar for actress.
Yeah, if she just gets nominated, I think that's a win for horror in a lead actress role. They've won some supporting, especially with last year.
Hmm.
But if she even gets nominated for lead, I just don't see anything this year, dude. Like,
Yeah.
something could surprise us, but like knockout and yeah. And then watch Spider-Man Brand New Day, but we're gonna talk about Spider-Man at the end of the episode and as well as doing a podcast on it. So I'll leave it all my thoughts on that movie for a little bit later.
Well,
But yeah.
speaking of Indy, I'm sure you saw that she met with the director for X-Men and it's
Yeah.
kind of rumored that she wants to play Mystique, which would be
Yeah.
neat.
Yeah, that kind of gets right into what we want to talk about next, which is the casting in the Marvel Universe announced. I saw that she like talked to the director for it and that she wanted to play Mystique like that. She straight up said that. I mean, I feel like she could do that pretty well
Yeah.
based off of her performance.
From what I hear, they're really trying to rush the casting because D23 Expo is coming up in a couple weeks, and they
Hmm.
want to announce the team of X-Men basically that will be in the next
Yeah,
movie. But we
I
also
think.
saw, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think they're gonna do that, except for Wolverine. I think Wolverine they're gonna keep under wraps for a little bit
Yeah,
until maybe D23 or maybe till after.
I think honestly, I'd prefer not doing Wolverine right away. I think you just let the team, the original team of X-Men get started and you can do Wolverine kind of later down the line. Kind of like give us some time to breathe, I guess, with Hugh Jackman probably being done with the role and then
Yeah,
move on down the line. Introduce the new characters, right? Like Jean Grey, Cyclops, Beast, Rogue, all that kind of stuff, and then move on. But I mean, we'll see what they do.
yeah,
Let me see here. We also got obviously Ryan Gosling announced as Ghost Rider is a pretty big deal, and from
yeah,
what I've seen, the rumor going around is that he'll be playing Johnny Blaze as Ghost Rider, which is pretty interesting.
yeah. He's been talking about that ever since Fall Guy, I think it was, and then even while doing Starfighter, he did it with John Watts or Sean Levy, who's also directed Starfighter, and they pretty much gave Disney what they thought of the idea for Ghost Rider, and Disney's like, "We're in.
Yeah,
Get him while he's hot," because Ryan Gosling's one of the hottest names in Hollywood right now. So
yeah, and then also David Johnson being cast as the son of Black Panther should be interesting. Kind of
dude,
see how that'll go with
that
Shuri too.
that's a huge win for me. I think I've talked about him a couple times on this podcast. He's one of my favorite young actors. If you have a picture of him right next to Chadwick Boseman, dude, they look exactly alike. Like, it's actually insane. I was like, all right, yeah, this is like kind of perfect casting in my opinion. He he has so many dynamic roles where he's definitely got the range.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it.
Funny enough, people, I know they were in Long Walk together, but people are saying that Cooper Hoffman is auditioning for Cyclops.
I did see that as well.
He's
It's
a,
between like him and
it was Drew Starkey from OBX and then Kit Connor too. And then Cooper
I think
Hoffman, I
Cooper
mean,
would be good. He
yeah,
just needs to get
and shape.
yeah.
I was going to say the same thing. He's just
Yeah.
kind of big. But I mean, you've seen the turnaround, like Peter Quill, can't think
Chris
of his name.
Pratt.
Yeah, he kind of
Yeah,
flipped it on its
Chris
head.
Pratt did. Yeah. Some other casting news was Kaylee Spaney and Charles Melton both did Beef season 2 together. Were announced as Beast and Rogue. I think that's pretty big. Big fan of both of them as well. So again, really good young people that they're trying to get after. And as well as Samara Weaving as Emma Frost. I think they're just trying to get like the most attractive X-Men group together. no spoilers about something else that would be involved with it, and the X-Man
I mean, this will
with
come
the
out in
other
2 weeks.
character.
You could say it.
Yeah, yeah. Spoilers, but Sadie Sink also as Jean Grey. It's just they're really refining and like finding really good young actresses and actors that I think is like such a good route to go down. Really, that's what made them so successful in the first place.
Yeah.
Getting very successful, bigger name actors and actresses, while DCU's going, in my opinion, the opposite route, going for smaller names.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see what works and what doesn't.
I think it's smart too because they're big enough actors to where everybody knows their name, but they're not going to break the bank, right? You still have a budget left in the movie after paying them for the movie, which is important. Once you
Yeah,
start casting huge names, it just gets really expensive really fast. And that's how you end up with a bad movie.
yeah, yeah. That's why they're big enough names, but they still got something to prove, and they want to. And it seems like Marvel's taking a little bit more risk, especially based off a Brand New Day of like not this is like this regular formatted kind of type of comic book movies, and I saw a lot of it in Thunderbolts too, and I hope they keep that up.
Yeah.
Just unique plots. I think the problem that people have had with Marvel ever since Endgame was that it was like very predictable plots, and all the successful ones since then were not very predictable, and it was a lot more emotional kind of movies as well.
Yep.
But cool. Something else we want to talk about was the Thomas Crown Affair trailer. Michael B. Jordan headlining this and directing in it. So the Thomas Crown Affair is a remake. I think it was the movies in the 80s or 90s. I haven't seen the original, but it's a James Bond-esque, but he's a heist guy, so he like steals diamonds and stuff, and it's going to be centered around him stealing like something big, and but he's like dressed super nice and all that. Looks really cool. The trailer was super cool.
Yeah. I don't know much about like the story behind Thomas Crown and everything like that, but I mean, if he's directing, I'm excited. He directed Creed 3, and that's probably my favorite
Yeah,
Creed movie ever. The fight scenes, the action was amazing in that, so I don't doubt it'll be any different here.
yeah. And especially right after the Academy Award, that's his first project, deciding to do a double billing like that. It's just impressive, really, by him. And I think that's why Hollywood likes him so much because he's just not going to settle.
Yep.
Now, talking about like right after Academy, Ryan Coogler doing the Black Panther 3 as well with David Johnson, 2028. So looking forward to that movie just because Ryan Coogler is probably going to cook again. He always does with Black Panther movies.
Yeah. I wonder if that'll be, the end of the trilogy for him for that. I wonder if he'll go in a different direction after the success of Sinners.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm interested too because David Johnson's a little older than you would suspect from like The Sun,
Hmm.
but with Secret Wars and Doomsday, you just never know what the time jump's going to be or anything.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, cool. So that leads us like right into like Jordan Peele himself. Justin, if you want to talk about him a bit.
Yeah, yeah. So obviously Jordan Peele, originally famous for the famous sketch comedy show Key and Peele. They worked on that from 2012 to I think 2016 or so. I remember watching the skits all the time. Really funny guy. That's why it was weird for me when I saw Get Out coming out back in 2017. I think it was. I'm like, what is
Yeah,
this guy gonna know about like a serious movie? But obviously, Get Out, his first film, instant hit. People loved it. I remember you couldn't go anywhere without people talking about it, kind of in the same vein of as a Obsession, right? That word to mouth,
yeah,
it just got out so fast about how good this movie was. And then, he eventually did Us as well, and then moved on to his third film, Nope. I remember we went and saw Nope together. We both
yeah,
really liked that movie. We won't be talking about that one a ton this week, but that was kind of why you wanted me to get to watch the rest of his filmography here because how much we enjoyed that movie. And then
yeah,
earlier last year, I was a producer on him. I think it was a big confusion. A lot of people thought he was the one directing it because of how much they advertised his name in the trailers and stuff. That movie was absolute dog shit, which is just hilarious to me. But yeah, I don't know if he has anything planned in the future, but definitely would like to see more of him after this week.
yeah. I think it'd be interesting to see him like actually direct something again.
Hmm.
He's been really focusing on like his production company and doing like small time things. But yeah, him was like one of the more confusing things because all the reviews on it is like, man, Jordan Peele fell off. It's like, well, he didn't direct it.
I
I
mean,
think
you
if he
would
did
think
direct it,
that he did because of how much they put his name out there.
yeah, they put his name bigger than like the two lead actors and the director. So it's like, all right. It's just to sell tickets, just to sell tickets at that point. Yeah, but cool. Yeah, you want to start with Get Out since that came out first?
Yeah, we'll start with Get Out. I don't know what I was waiting for, honestly. I just never really got around to watching this. I knew so much about it, and I knew how everybody talked about how good this movie was. But yeah, just getting into it, the plot, I gave it an 8. Chris, he is a black photographer who visits his white girlfriend Rose's family for the weekend. And over time, he kind of uncovers a sinister plot to transplant the minds of very wealthy white individuals into black bodies for their own desire and to kind of live a longer, stronger life, I guess you would say. Very interesting plot. I surprisingly didn't know that much about the plot. I just knew that he was kind of kidnapped in this house coming into it. So very interesting to see. And what I really enjoyed about this plot compared to most horror movies, I have problems with horror movies and plot. It really drew out the lore throughout the whole movie. I was kind of on the edge of my seat the whole movie rather than just getting lore dumped in the beginning and then watching horror elements. You know what I mean? It was drawn out
Yeah,
perfectly to build the suspense of the movie, which I really enjoyed.
yeah. I think the screenplay for this film, it won original screenplay, which is kind of crazy for a first-time director.
Yeah.
But I thought it was just outstanding, almost a flawless script for me, just in and out of like how original the idea is, but with like the underlying themes of what he's kind of known for, with racial themes being back studied or like a really forefront and back themes throughout his all three of his films. I really like it. I like the dialogue that is like eerie, and that's where like the horror comes in. Because there's really nothing too scary until
Yeah.
like the end of the film, but it's just like the words being said. When he goes upstairs and then everybody stops and just listens to him, like that's just like creepy. Or like once he goes away for a second, they're like all talking, but like the noise cancels out. I guess it's like sound and cinematography part, but like that's all throughout the dialogue as well. But yeah, I thought it was a flawless script for me.
Yeah. I mean, it's not even like, I mean, we call it a horror movie, but I'm kind of saying that in the sense of you're right. Like it's like a more of an eerie horror. It's not like a slasher per se. It's more like just like a psychological thriller than anything.
Yeah, yeah,
Getting into the characters, I thought they were great. I gave that an 8 as well. Every character was like pretty drawn out. Even in the family, right? The family that was kind of selling off his body, they were pretty drawn out and they all had their individual distinct motives. The one thing that really took me out of this movie was the comedy. It's literally only by his friend Rod. It's just so not supposed to be in this movie. Like every scene he's in, it feels like a different movie. It feels like a Kevin Hart movie or something. That's the
yeah.
only thing that really took me out of it. It was hilarious. It was like good comedy, but it was just not. It did not fit the movie to me.
Interesting. The way I think Rod is like a really crucial character to like the whole movie because there's like this tension throughout the movie, and then he just breaks it with one phone call to make you like put you back on your feet,
Yeah,
where you're like, oh, maybe we're just growing crazy,
yeah,
you know that what you're watching isn't okay because it's a freaking movie, but the point of putting him in there is to make you feel a little bit easier about it, kind of underlie that tension for a second, but then he's acting like we are.
yeah.
He's like, nah, these white people, they crazy. And then at the end of the movie, you see like a cop car, and we could talk about the ending right here, but it's just like crazy where you could see like two different endings, and Jordan Peele decided to choose one. Apparently, originally his ending was that it was like actual cops, and then he gets arrested, but he decided no, he's actually going to be saved by his friend Rod, which I think is a more effective ending because it's kind of like I don't even say like a happy ending necessarily. It's just kind of like a very gratifying ending.
Yeah. T.S.
Yeah.
motherfucking A.
Yeah. But other than Rose, I think as a white savior kind of character throughout the film, and then that twist like of her knowing, you, first time watching, I did not really see it coming like that. I thought she had something to do with it, but not like in the way of where she was like straight up like setting it all up.
Yeah, dude, she was like the mastermind behind it all. I asked Madison,
Yeah.
like, I think it was like 10 minutes in or so. I was like, she's got to know her parents are racist. Like, there's no way she wouldn't know. And then
Yeah.
she was like, no, 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 like, you're good. Like, she's with him. Like, she cares about him. I was like, okay, play into it.
Dude, you notice something that I saw a video on with the cop scene right at the beginning when he hits the deer
Hmm.
and they stop him? she says, "Do not take his ID." She really fights against it. It's so they don't get his record for that area.
Yeah,
So when he goes missing, they can't track him there.
that makes sense. Yeah.
I was like, dude, that's like such a small thing that like you don't even notice, but like she does that as a character
Yeah.
to try to lure it away.
That's crazy. I didn't even think about that. Cinematography, I thought it was amazing in this movie. Very unsettling atmosphere, right? Everything kind of built around the house is just very unsettling. Feels old, feels like old money kind of vibe. It's just very bright and comforting too in a weird way. You know something's wrong, but it reminded me of Midsummer in that sense, like super bright, super like neat and everything's super clean and old. Just very, yeah, very eerie aesthetic throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, when talking about cinematography, I feel like we got to talk about the sunken place.
Yeah.
Just like such a unique idea in the first place to bring that up, but the way it's shot as well is so cool. Like I don't know how he does that, like actually. And I was just like, wow. Like, how do you expect somebody that created like a Key and Peele skit to do this, to do that kind of thing? It was such a big thing. It still really is. It's still kind of talked about in like social media and pop culture, like the sunken place. But I remember when it first came out, everybody would talk about like, oh, the sunken place and all that.
Yeah.
But the
It's
quick shots, like the eerie zoom outs or zoom ins, and then at the end of the movie with the action just straight up showing it to you and not
mhm.
trying to get fancy with the cinematography, but then like zooming in on like the cup of tea, just like the small details that I thought were so good.
Yeah. No, the shots in this movie were amazing. Like you were saying with the sunken place, it feels so trapped for him, right? But it is also in this open void. So it's like that it just gives you such an eerie feeling sitting there. You can clearly tell he's trapped and there's not much he can do, but yeah, it was pretty neat. Kind of get into that what we were talking about. Set design, I gave it a 9. I thought it was pretty amazing. It was just so hyper realistic. I mean, everything felt really real. Even the sunken place, it felt like we could, him seeing out of his eyes still, but just being trapped in there. And then obviously just the little things, kind of like we've seen in other horror movie houses we've seen. Everything's kind of off in a weird way, and he knows that, right? But
Yeah.
also even the outside, I thought was really well done. Just like it's an eerie setting at the party and everything. It was just super cool doing it in the light, like we kind of talked about with Midsummer a while back.
Yeah. Like the way everyone dresses is like kind of old money wise. It kind of feeds into that like racial factor where you're like, just he gets goosebumps the moment he gets there, but just because he loves his girlfriend so much, she's like, maybe I'm just getting crazy. Maybe I'm just being crazy. But he just never listens to his gut till it's way too late. But yeah.
Acting, I gave it a 9. Obviously anchored by Daniel Kaluuya. He got a Oscar nomination for Best Actor this year. I'd have to see what else he went up against, but it was really great. I also love Lakeith Stanfield. I thought his switch over was really good. I was like, damn, there's clearly something different about this guy. I just couldn't figure out what it was in the moment.
Yeah.
And everybody else was super eerie too. I didn't know any of the actors in the White family really, which was interesting. It seemed like they were all pretty small actors, but they all did really well too. Especially Rose. I think her switch was so sudden and eerie. It just made me think like, oh my God.
Yeah. Now Daniel Kaluuya is really, really good actor. I like everything he's in. I wish he did more projects, but he's very selective. He reminds me a lot of Stephen Yeun, another guy that's in one of Jordan Peele movies. That's just they're very selective with what they do, but when they do it, they just stand out to me. Allison Williams is the one that plays Rose. Super scary. The two parents, their faces are around a lot, but that's just because they did a lot of movies in like the '90s and stuff. They did like '90 heartthrob like kind of shows where they weren't
Okay.
the leads, but they were always like supporting kind of roles. And then yeah, with Keith Stanfield, kind of a more minor role,
Yeah.
but he fits really well into that role.
And then directing, obviously Peele won Best Screenplay this year, and he also won a nomination or got a nomination for Best Director. I really enjoy his works. Kind of like you talked about, always super eerie, and I think he does a really good job at pacing of movies. I've never really had a problem with any of the pacing in his movies. I think it's done well enough to kind of draw out the suspense throughout the whole movie rather than a big reveal kind of in the middle of the movie just for the final act to be stupid long. I think he does a good job at wrapping everything up and finishing out these movies well.
Yeah, this is a crazy great movie for your first feature film.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if Keanu, that movie counts as his first because he co-directed it, but doing it by himself for this, it's really insane what he does with his work. Just a really masterclass of why he became such a big name right away, and it's really impressive. It's not my favorite movie of his. That's the only reason why I took like 1 point off for that. Nope is pretty heavily my favorite, but that's just because I like the themes in it a little bit more, and I think you could tell Get Out and Us leads into Nope, and where I think that's just like master work.
Yeah. Soundtrack, I gave it a 10. Needle Drop of the Week, Redbone by Childish Gambino in the beginning, saying stay woke over and over again. Very early warning for Daniel's character. I thought that was so neat and such a great use of music to kind of convey and foreshadow a big plot point of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. The soundtrack is like really talked about. And when he released it, Jordan Peele has like a commentary about it where he really wanted to foreground like black voices and music traditions without going after the African roots. He's like, I don't want to root the music in that. He's like, I want to root it more so in like the traditions and black voices. And then one of the songs, he says it's like literally translates straight to like warning to Chris to trust his ancestors. Like it translates to trust your ancestors. And it's another like stay woke. It like all the music in the film is kind of leading to warn Chris,
Yeah.
but he's just not listening to his gut the whole time.
Yeah. That's interesting. I didn't even hear about that. I usually like to go in and watch some interviews that the director's talking about stuff about the movie, but I didn't have time this week, so I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. I think this movie taught me anything is just trust your gut in a situation that you're not used to.
Yeah.
No matter what that is, your gut usually isn't wrong.
Yeah, don't trust your dick.
Yeah.
Theme, I gave it a 9. I thought this was pretty great themes in this movie. But kind of like you said, I liked Nope's themes a little bit heavier. But obviously, big talking points in this one is systemic racism, kind of the illusion of like a post-racial society, right? Like, I think they actually, in a weird way, they liked the idea of being African American more than being white, more than anything. But they just, yeah, really bad people overall. And then also, yeah, just kind of the dangers of liberal right complacency, I guess, and kind of where they were going with that. Yeah, this is messed up family, messed up ideas in this movie.
Yeah. What he talks about in a lot of commentary about this movie is that it's not going after that far right side that
Yeah.
in like the southern country, it's that far left side that acts like they're your friends. And because right at the beginning, he's like, I voted for Obama.
Yeah.
And then it's like, he's like, okay, I didn't ask. Like trying to act like that. And in a way, he also discusses like seeing them as objects rather than people that actually have thoughts and feelings because they really never ask him what he likes to do and all that. Instead, they're just like, you're sports, right? And it's
Yeah.
like, what? Like, no, he's like a photographer.
Yeah.
He like talks about it and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, you hit it right on the dot though. Post-racial America like being a big theme as well.
Yeah. Editing, I had to knock it a little bit here, just like I talked about earlier. I felt like some of the comedic points were out of place, but that's just how I felt. I mean, maybe upon a rewatch, I'd feel differently. But yeah, a lot of social satire in this and the dark comedy mixed in. I just wish it felt like in the middle of the movie, we kind of went into Rod's plot line, especially with him at the police station and everything like that. I know what you're saying to kind of bring that harsh tonal shift in. It felt a little out of place to me, but that would be my only knock on this movie.
Yeah, I think I just see a little bit opposite. I
Yeah.
just think there's a tonal shift in it. The pacing is where I see a lot of like editing come into factor, and I thought the pacing was like right on point. And then like the different lights added, and then clearly like the sunken places brought into the editing room and perfected, and I thought that was really well done.
Yeah. And then new category this week, we switched out dialogue for a new category. Just overall enjoyment. I think this will kind of touch on more how we just generally feel about the movie. This movie, I gave it an 8. I thought it was really good overall watch. Really good tension building, like I mentioned, that kept me on the edge of my seat for the whole movie, right? I never got bored with this movie, never felt like it was too long or the pacing was out of place. I thought it was really well done.
Yeah, I really enjoy this film. I gave it a 10 out of 10 for enjoyment. I remember first time watching this because I think I watched Us first, and then after seeing Us, I wanted to see Get Out, and I was like, wow, okay, I really like this film. I really like the context into it. It's just like it's a good example of modern horror done so well with like the themes involved, the pacing, the dialogue, the characters. So yeah, really like this movie.
Yeah. My overall score was a 8.4 out of 10 or an 84. I really liked it. I think I still like Nope a little bit better than this one. Just I think it dives a little bit more into themes. I'm sure the budget was a little bit bigger too, right? He had a lot of grand scale stuff in Nope that just looked really cool. But yeah, I still really enjoyed this movie, and I feel like this one's probably super rewatchable too. Like I wouldn't mind going back and watching this again.
Yeah, it definitely is. I gave it a 9.4 out of 10 or a 94 out of 100. Very high score for me, close to a 5-star film. I really enjoy this film. When I first watched it, it was back in like I think 2019, so really got me into film as well and being able to see a different side of horror and then the one I really known. And I would say that like Jordan Peele with this next movie that we're about to talk about and Get Out was like a big reason why I really got into horror and what I like in horror film specifically. But cool. That leads right into our the next movie that we're doing and Us. So this follows a black family of four that at right at the beginning of the movie you can tell something's maybe a little bit off. Maybe that's just like the eeriness of how Jordan Peele directs. But they're going to this a place in California, this like summer house kind of feeling on a lake. They decide to go on the beach for the day, come back after being scared about where her son went, and then a family shows up in their driveway, and the first 30 minutes is like it's like a master class in horror making in my opinion. Like it's like terrifying, eerie to the 10th degree. And then the climax of the film for me is not my favorite, is where I have a bigger problem with this film. But the first 30 minutes leads into like they meet this family that's in their driveway and it's replications of themselves called the other side that look exactly like them or modifications of them but cannot speak English. And then it leaves them trying to defeat the family and pretty much survive because it's happening to every family in America that we know. By the end of the film, it grows into it. What do you think of the plot, though?
Yeah, I like the plot of this movie. My, I guess I'm kind of the opposite on it. The first 30 minutes or so was such a big lore dump for me, right? We're kind of like learning so much about this family and trying to figure out what's going on with everybody. And then it switches for a while into this like very just only horror elements of them trying to escape. And then back towards the end of the movie, then we get massive lore dump again. It just felt like I don't know if the more lore could have been mixed into the middle, I would have liked it a little bit better. Especially they escape their family, then go to the white family, and then have to fight them off too. It got a little old for me once they went to the white family's house. I was just kind of like, all right, we just saw them escape somebody else. Now I got to see them fight through this again. And then all the lore starts coming in again. And that's when I started really enjoying the movie too. But that was just honestly personal preference on that section.
I think I just like the first 30 minutes because it's like actually so terrifying
Yeah,
of
it
like what's
was.
happening to them,
No, it
and then
definitely
like
was.
and then you get the reveal of like it's them,
Yeah.
and then like the scissors, like the red jumpsuits. It's like what the heck is this? And then they don't really speak English other than red, played by Lupita Nyong'o, and it's really well done. Like her acting is crazy, but we'll get to that later.
No, those
Plot, I,
don't get me wrong. That scene is so good and it's so eerie and they're kind of hard to look at.
yeah,
My problem is after the fact, it's just like we're running around for the next 30 minutes just trying to escape and then all
yeah,
the plot comes back.
yeah. That's my problem with like the whole climax of the film of like the last 30 to 40 minutes is like too much lore drop at the end of the
Yeah,
film, you know,
spread it
where
out.
like, yeah, you got to spread it out. And I think that's what a lot of people have a problem with this film. So the plot I gave a 6 out of 10 just because I think the back half of this film has a lot of weak points. It's not that like Get Out feels really small scale. Nope feels very small scale. I think this one he tries to go more to grand scale and fails because there's just a little bit of plot holes there, right? When you try to get that big with like just drawing lore at you, you're like, so they all live in tunnels and eat bunnies, but then they can access the tunnels, like, but they can't get out. It's very confusing, but they like mimicate each person's life. There's just like a lot of circumstances where I'm like, how does this work? Like they
Yeah.
just drove down. How do they know to meet up with them now?
Yeah.
You know, like they don't live there.
Hmm.
Like, do they just follow their life in Santa Clara, or do they follow them each location they go? That's like more plot hole questions I have. I think for like if you're gonna make it that grand scale of a thing.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Characters though, I gave a 9 out of 10 just because I think each family like member is kind of delved out pretty well into like understanding like their each archetypes. Like obviously, like the mother is like the main character on both sides, how she like kind of switched her life, and that's why this is all happening in the first place. And then the father is a very protective figure, kind of a jokey guy, kind of like a you can't take him too serious. And Winston Duke plays him really well, but then like beats his ass at the end and outsmarts him. And then the daughter reminds her a lot of the mother, like the way that she's like a star, like at something. But then her son also is a lot like her, and where he doesn't really talk all that much, and it's kind of weird with like the mask. But yeah, what do you think about the characters?
No, I thought the characters were great and really delved out really well. I think the child acting was really decent too. Like they were funny to watch, and the damn Chewbacca mask all the time was hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think all the characters were done super well. Lupita Nyong'o was just amazing, and my first time seeing it, so that plot twist at the end actually got me, and I was like, this would make so much sense because that's why she was scared to go back there. She didn't want to get close to what it.
And like I don't know if you picked up on it, but like the son also is switched too.
No, his face was all
Yeah.
burnt up.
Yeah, because they talk about a fire that happened to him, and then she switched him out. Because if right at the beginning of the movie, they're snapping to a movie, and both of them are off snapping because when you're one of the others, you cannot get on rhythm.
So he was switched out too.
Yeah, and
When
that's why
though?
at the
We
end of
don't
the
see it.
movie, yeah, we don't see it.
Okay.
They don't show it. But then at the movie, he goes like this to her. It's kind of speaking to where they both know.
Okay.
And that's also why when he goes into the fire, like the other of the kid in the red jumpsuit of the son, the mother tries to go and save him because that's actually her kid,
Yeah.
like the one that she actually birthed. But yeah, some people think that's not true. That's how I think it is, and it makes a lot of sense with how like different he is as well.
I kind of interpreted the ending as him thinking that maybe catching on to it. Like he's a pretty smart kid throughout the film, so I thought maybe he started thinking like, wait, which one is my actual mother? Like maybe she was from that end in the first place. I think he was starting to pick up on it, but that's just what I took away from it.
It's also because he barely speaks in the film as well, just like how she barely did as a kid.
Yeah.
It also makes a lot of people think that like he also was switched. Cinematography gave a 9 out of 10. I mean, just like with Get Out, like really cool horror shots, really like just like the lighting as well, the zooming in on the faces of her crying, zooming out, just really cool cinematography throughout this film.
Yeah, like all his movies just look really cool. There's not much else to say. Like they all just have amazing shots in them. And they don't even have to be like grand scale shots like in Nope. Like they can just be these super small scale close up shots and they just look way better than most movies.
Yeah. Like I'll say it, and it's like him, Nolan, and Denny. When you go to their movies, you just know they're gonna look great. Like they're just gonna be outstanding looking movies, and look, each one's gonna look a little bit different, but like at the end of the day, it's gonna be very good.
Yeah, the movie can suck, but you know you're gonna get a spectacle every time.
Yeah. Directing, I gave it 8 out of 10, and the biggest point is with the plot at the end of it that I really have to take away. It's his most out there idea and riskier. Again, how it's more grand scheme. You go from a Get Out, really small scale type of movie to where even though this is centered around one family, you make it into this bigger thing.
Yeah.
And that's why I kind of gave him a plus to where he could have easily taken the safe route and taken a more safer like plot line, but he decided to go for it even bigger. And then with Nope, even bigger. And I got to appreciate that as a director.
No, yeah, he's definitely not afraid to take risk. But I agree. I think kind of the lore dumping at the end, it was good lore, you know. I don't think it was bad.
Yeah.
Like you said, there's some plot holes for sure. But yeah, it was just a lot all at once. And I wish it was kind of delved out a little bit more in the middle of the movie. Just give me like a new scene, maybe when they're leaving their house originally, saying like all this stuff's going on. People are lining up across America causing problems. Okay, let's go get our other friends and see if they're okay. That kind of thing. Just kind of delve out everything in the middle instead of saving it all just for a huge ending.
Where it's like a lot of questions at the end. I think another reason why is like compared to Get Out and Nope, where there isn't really questions at the end of this movie. There's a lot of questions at the end of this movie. Not necessarily that it's something horrible, just not really for me and like and what I look for comparatively. Acting, I gave a 10 out of 10. Like Lupita Nyong'o is
So good.
Honestly just deserves the 10 by herself. Like it's actually insane what she does in this movie. Being able to play both roles so effectively. I think Winston Duke is subtly great as well. Elizabeth Moss, like the white one, like the white mom, also outstanding. Like when she's playing the other, it's so terrifying and like just her small acts. But yeah,
Dude, that voice that Lupita Nyong'o does, oh my god. Like like the broken, like raspy English. It makes so much sense because you're not using it all the time. You would forget how to speak English from when you were a
yeah.
kid. And yeah, it's just crazy to watch. That was so like horrifying to listen to. I don't know if that was all her, if there was sound editing in there as well, but either way, I know she was at least mouthing it.
I'm pretty sure it was all her because like I don't know like for sure by looking it up, but like I don't see that being anything other than just herself. I mean, Emily Blunt in Disclosure Day did that all herself as well. So
Yeah.
it's just like these actors are just really talented and makes sense why Lupita has an Oscar. Surprised she wasn't nominated for this. I think it's just because the movie didn't hit as much as Get Out, so it didn't get as much love. But like she's so good.
Yeah.
Soundtrack and score, I gave it 10 out of 10, just like Get Out, like really iconic music. I got 5 on it. It was so creepy in the way it was used.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember when the trailer came out for this movie, I was terrified.
Yeah.
Just watching the trailer with I got 5 on it. But then NWA playing over the white family, I thought that's like the comedic piece of it, right?
Yeah.
Like that's like one of the only there's like small comedy pieces throughout the film that like that add to it, but like the NWA was like the cherry, like the biggest part. I was just like, dude, this is so funny. They called the police, but they're like, they're just like, oh,
Now
playing fuck the
playing.
police.
That's such a hilarious, like, comedic relief, and such a good use of music throughout the whole film, but yeah, it's so hilarious.
Yeah. Set design, I gave it out 8 out of 10. It was mostly filmed in LA. Feels like an LA film. Like the beach scenes and all that. Like the terrifying set of like the horror house, I thought was really effective. The undergrounds, I don't know if it was just like maybe that's why I took points off because that's where the plot holes start to come in because it doesn't look that big, and I'm like, where do these tunnels lead to each other and connect to?
Nah, dude,
And
it's just the back rooms, you forgot.
yeah, and I was like. Yeah, I think that was like my only biggest hit, and then the White Rabbits as well. Which I maybe I just don't get the meaning of the White Rabbits at all, and maybe I'm just like that like totally bypasses me what they mean other than food.
I mean, it's gotta mean something, I'll have to look it up, but, yeah, that's what I felt like too. I mean, because the whole intro credit sequence was all just on the rabbits, and so I was like,
Yeah,
"Okay, what does this mean?" But I looked over at Madison while watching this, I was like, "Oh, that looks smack like the back rooms." Like, it looks like something underground, just endless eeriness, kinda that void
did
of rooms.
did Kane Parsons steal from Jordan Peele? Who knows?
You heard it here first.
Hey, people get interpreted art from different art.
Yeah,
Happens all the time. So it wouldn't surprise me if he was like, maybe us. I mean, because Kane Parsons is only 21, so this movie came out when he was like 15.
yeah,
It would make a lot of sense. Editing, 8 out of 10, just with cinematography as well. It's really cool cut like horror sequences, like especially like when the family they see him in the driveway and then it keeps cutting in between each of the different family members getting attacked. A really good like horror elements with through like the editing part of it as well. I think my biggest factor I I think it's more so pace
yeah.
and then cutting back to like different timing wise where you don't necessarily get lost, but I don't see just revolving around like the lore drop, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the editing of the camera was done really well, but I think the editing of the overall pacing of the movie was poorly done. I just think, we've seen it with Get Out and Nope. I think those movies are done really well. And I don't know what happened here, but it was tough to watch in the middle of the movie.
Yeah. Themes, I gave it 9 out of 10 because there's a lot of like deep themes with all three of his movies, but it's like ramifications of privilege. Clearly, poverty is like a big thing about this of like what, and then like people get what they want, but at the expense of others. And that's what I think the biggest theme about this is that they're living like their life, but at the expense of like people living horrible conditions and all this kind of stuff. Again, touching at that poverty line.
Yeah, I agree with you when you're saying that, but my only problem with it is we don't really understand still why they were born in the first place. Like, does every
Yeah.
person get it? I mean, we see a lot of people out there, but then again, it's hard to say how it all works, right? So I wish that
Yeah.
was delved out a little more, and it might have made the themes hit a little bit harder for me.
Yeah. Nah, it makes a lot of sense because that's another part of like I didn't want to take it away from the themes
Hmm.
because I think they're really complex and I just don't think I entirely get them.
Yeah,
And I take that way more so away from like the plot and the editing.
yeah,
Enjoyment overall, I gave it a 9 out of 10. This is a rewatchable film because I think I pick up something new every time I rewatched it. This is my third time rewatching it, and I feel like I picked up something new, even third time, probably well, fourth time. So, and I remember seeing it in theaters. It's a really cool theater experience. Keeps me intrigued, but just like climax problem for me.
yeah. No, I agree. I really enjoyed this movie too. I know it sounded like I was kind of bashing on it there, but it still was a horror movie with really good lore and plot developed in it. In a similar way, it kind of reminded me of Weapons in a weird way. I don't know why I kept thinking back to Weapons. Just like this overarching mind takeover kind of thing was really neat. I think Weapons surely executed on it way better, but I still really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah. Overall, I gave it 8.6 out of 10 or 86 out of 100. Pretty high score, but I'm just a big Peele fan and I really enjoy his work. And I think this is a very effective and risky take of a horror movie compared to a lot of horror movies that come out nowadays.
Yeah, no, I agree. I give it a 7.8 out of 10 or 78, a little bit lower on it. Obviously, everybody knows I'm not the biggest horror guy, so the horror elements that were pretty amazing for most people didn't jump out to me as much as I'm sure it did for other people, but I overall enjoyed this film. I think it was a fun watch.
Yeah, awesome. So overall, like the way I would rank Jordan Peele movies is number one for me is Nope. Number two is Get Out, and then quite a jump down to Us, but like all three movies I enjoy a lot.
Yeah, my ranking would be the exact same. I haven't seen Nope in a while, so I definitely want to go back and rewatch that here soon. But yeah, I just remember really that one sticking with me hard and being like, yeah, this guy cooks.
Yeah. I think you would really like it even more on a rewatch just because of how much we've been able to talk about different things of movies that you'd be able to appreciate more on a rewatch.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah. Nope, Fox. I probably rewatch it like twice a year because I like that movie so much. But cool. Awesome. Yeah. So that wraps up Jordan Peele. Talk about Weapons. A big deal when it first got produced was that his company, he fired a lot of like people that ran his production company because they lost a bidding battle for Weapons because he wanted
Mm.
to direct it.
Wow. That's neat. That seems like his
Yeah.
vibe too.
Yeah, exactly. Who knows how that movie would have been? It was obviously still a big hit, but I think with him, maybe it's just a different movie entirely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I hope he just gets back to directing at least something again. It doesn't turn into like a Tarantino where he just keeps saying that he's going to do something and then just never does anything. So we'll see. Awesome. So what we're going to wrap it up with. So this week that we're filming, Spider-Man Brand New Day came out. We're probably going to be talking about spoilers throughout this, especially when we bring it up. So forewarning with it. If you haven't seen it, go see it, then come back to this ranking of it. But overall, I love Spider-Man Brand New Day. I thought it was such a good movie. I liked it so much. I think this is the best Tom Holland performance, best street level Spider-Man movie to date.
Yeah.
And that may sound like a really bold strategy, but like when we get into the rankings, like I have it pretty high up because I think this is the most street level Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think
And
that's general consensus too. I think everyone feels that way. This movie was pretty amazing to watch.
yeah,
The only
and that was
thing,
like the biggest critique about Tom Holland coming into it. Like his Spider-Man was like he's been an adventure right from the beginning, large scale things. He's never like had to deal with the small level stuff, and then it just gives it to you right in front of you, and like, oh, here it is.
yeah. And Tom Holland, Daniel, Dustin, Craig kind of talked about that in a lot of the interviews this week. Just how they've been listening, right? They've been listening to
Yeah,
everybody and what they want, and they wanted this small scale Spider-Man, and everything's showing that. Box office is absolutely destroying. It's going to be the highest grossing movie of all time at this rate, and it was so great. The only thing that was so frustrating is I'm sitting there watching it 5 days after I watched The Odyssey, and I'm like,
yeah,
damn, I wish I could watch this in IMAX. Like,
yeah.
it looks like it should be in IMAX and is stuck on the small screen, which sucked.
Yep. Yeah, Marvel's doing some interesting choices because they're also releasing Doomsday at the same time as Dune 3. So then it won't get IMAX showings, but then they got this new thing called Vision that they're debuting with Doomsday. It's just another way to get more money out of us,
Yeah.
if we're all being completely honest.
And it's going to work too. I'm going to see it in Infinity Vision.
And I already bought 2 tickets for Infinity Vision, so it already worked on me because I already know I'm going to want to see that movie twice in the same weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah, getting into like the Spider-Man rankings, before we get to that, Justin talked about it. It's making a boatload of money.
Yeah.
It's got like the best opening day of all time, with a caveat that the opening day counts Wednesday previews
Yeah.
as well. And as compared to movies that used to come out, they would only show it at midnight. They now show movies at like 1 p.m. on Thursdays. So
Yeah.
a larger caveat, I would say, with opening day, because I think it's opening days, still going to make a boatload of money, close to probably $2 billion.
Yeah, dude, I don't care. Me and Madison went to book tickets Thursday night for Saturday night, and we couldn't even sit together. But luckily, we got close enough seats where it was a whole family, and they were like, "Oh, you guys can sit together." But absolutely sold out every showing. I know Nathan texted and said he got tickets for Monday. I don't know if that was the earliest he could get or what was going on, but yeah, it's hard to get tickets right now.
Yeah. Once I heard that, I knew I had to buy Avengers tickets, because after the hype for this, a lot of people were going to be looking at Avengers.
Yeah.
Because I think this was like a perfect movie to lead into it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, Marvel's made a lot of interesting choices the past 6 years since Endgame, but like this was a really good choice by them to do their main guy right before they come out with like another Avengers movie. Like, hats off to Disney. They know what they're doing at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But cool. So yeah, Spider-Man rankings. So this is going to be all the feature film Spider-Man that we've seen. Includes Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, and Into the Spider-Verse movies as well, and the Tom Holland ones. Does not include like his subplot movies, so it doesn't include the Avengers or Civil War into it. Cool. So how we're going to do this is, so Justin's going to get, or one team's going to be B, which is going to be picks 11, 9, 7, 5, 3, and 1, but one's pretty much going to be chosen for you. And then A is going to be 10, 8, 6, 4, and 2. Cool. Yeah. Do you prefer which team you would want?
Let me
Or are
spin
you
a
gonna-
wheel. Let me spin a wheel.
Okay. One veto each,
Okay.
because each of us pretty much gets 5 picks no matter what.
Yeah. All right. It's me. So I'll just
Okay.
I'll pick A.
Okay. So you get like 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. Cool. All right. So I get pick 11. So at pick 11, it's really between 2 movies for me. I'm just going to go with my gut in a movie that I haven't rewatched since I first saw it. The only Spider-Man movie I haven't rewatched, and that is Spider-Man 3. I have it number 11.
Damn. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a couple different ones there, but I'm not mad at it.
But I just really think Spider-Man 3, for Raimi, quite a jump for me in like choices. He takes everything that is successful about Spider-Man 1 and 2 and decides to just
Flip
right
it.
out the bag and go full character. Make Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man really weird in it as well. And not as much emotional context to this movie as the first 2 either, that I think is a big hit on the movie for me.
Yeah, that's fair. Number 10, I'm going to go ahead and go Spider-Man Far From Home. I don't like this movie as much. I think Jake Gyllenhaal is great as Mysterio. I think that's a really good character and it's well done. Everything else in this movie, I really did not enjoy.
Yeah.
He's God knows where in Europe all the time. It feels like more of a S.H.I.E.L.D. movie than anything.
Mhm.
Yeah, I just didn't like this movie that much. But I did like that the ending kind of revealed his identity and had made him go through that plot point in No Way Home. But that was pretty much it for me.
Yeah, kind of a waste of a really good villain in a way. Some people really like this movie. I'm in the same boat as you, where I think it kind of takes away the roots of who Spider-Man is, especially for his second film. He has to do like some innovative stuff that kind of shows that part of Spider-Man of him. But I just think it's a weaker character study for him, because it's still centered around Tony Stark at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like, it's like Tony Stark is still such an integral part of it rather than Spider-Man. Yeah. For me, at number 9, I have to go with my next lowest ranking, and that's Amazing Spider-Man 2. So this is the second one of Andrew Garfield. Just not a big fan of the villains in this at all. I think they're really poor. I think the plot's really poor. Nothing against Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. I think he's a really good Spider-Man, just not given the best stuff to work with.
Yeah.
Everything else around him sucked. So
I think he's the best part of this movie, I'd say.
yeah.
Some of the most the best Spider-Man swinging in action is in this movie, and then
Mhm.
it's just completely killed by the villains of this movie. It's just
Yeah,
became it almost has the same problem as Spider-Man 3. It just got really overcrowded, and it's funny to see them just not learn from the mistakes. But
yeah, yeah. It sucks, but it's the reason why Sony ended up making a deal with Disney after this.
yeah.
Pretty much had to.
So number 8, I mean, I kind of get into the same thing. I'm gonna go The Amazing Spider-Man. This one is a lot better than the second one, but not by much. I mean, I think we're starting to get into that period of pretty decent movies. So yeah, this one was good. Obviously, he's fighting the lizard the whole time. Again, I think him as Spider-Man is so great in this. Peter Parker was okay, but yeah, his Spider-Man is really good. The fight scenes and everything like that is really well done in this movie.
Yeah, it's really good introduction. This gets kind of into the first for Tobey Maguire and Garfield for me. It's just not believable as high school students for me. I don't
Yeah.
know what about we get it more into Tobey's, but I think Tobey's is just a little bit different the way that it's filmed and all that. This one is just I think he's the most creative one in his first movie. It's one of the smarter, best swinging of it, and definitely a lot of more like funny in a lot of sense. But again, like a first time villain for this movie, like nothing against the Lizard Man, but come on. Spider-Man's got like a crazy villains, like a villain rogue, and you choose him as your first movie. Like, come on.
I can't stop thinking about like how much they made fun of it in No Way Home too. He's
Yeah,
just like, I'll
yeah,
give you a real makeover. He's like, you can turn me into
yeah,
a lizard.
yeah, yeah. It's like, what did you want to do? Just turn everybody into lizards? It's like, yeah. It's like, what? It's just crazy. Out of all characters, that was the first one they went for. But
Yeah,
hey,
but the problem is, I think it's more to how they did Dr. Connors because he's really interesting and has a really good relationship with Peter in the comics. And they're friends for
yeah,
a long time. And then that stuff all starts going down. That's why it's important in the comics. It's like, well, they cared about each other and this is happening. I
yeah.
just didn't get the sell on, oh, they really care about each other that much in this movie.
No, they knew each other. They talked to each other for like a week,
Yeah.
and then you're supposed to like care.
Yeah.
But yeah, oh, cool. So for number 7 for me is just my next up, and it is Spider-Man: Homecoming. It is the first Tom Holland movie. I really like the villain into this. For me, from here on up, this is 4-star movies for me. So it's really interchangeable for me. But I really like Homecoming as well. So I'm not gonna like talk crap about it at all. If anything, it's like the love interest parts for me. But him as like a confused teenager who's in love with this, not love, really likes this girl, and then figures out that her dad is the guy that's trying to kill him is quite interesting. And then Donald Glover just talks about Miles Morales, and we haven't heard anything since, by the way. But anyway,
I'm going to have to veto this one. I want this one higher.
okay.
I like this
I had a
movie a lot.
feeling you would. I don't think you're gonna like my replacement, but we'll see. My replacement is gonna be No Way Home.
No, that's okay.
Okay. My problem, my only problem with No Way Home. First off, before getting into the problem with it, I think this is one of the main movies that saved cinema and like movie theaters because it came out right after COVID, was a huge hit, really touched on like the nostalgia factor. But that's my problem with it. It focuses a lot on the nostalgia factor. First time watch, great movie, great theater experience, not very rewatchable. Rewatch, I was like, you could tell they rushed this movie. It's really impressive that they made the movie because they made it during COVID. They had a like fast push of production and everything during that time because it was still up in the air about a lot of stuff, but it feels rushed. Like
Yeah.
on a rewatch, there's a lot of misses for me.
Yeah. A lot of people, say that it's just nostalgia bait and that it's just a cameo fest. I don't think that's the case. I think obviously Toby and Andrew appearing, I think they are an important role. They're kind of both playing that Uncle Ben role for Peter to kind of like guide him on what his future will look like. And obviously, they stop him from killing Green Goblin, which is such an important role for them to play. But I think you're right. So much stuff has come out now saying how much this was rushed, saying all the problems they had making this movie. And I think nothing makes that clearer than watching Brand New Day yesterday and being like, holy
Yeah,
shit, this is what it could be.
yeah,
So yeah, I'm not mad at putting this here at all.
yeah. I think they are. I agree with you where no little bit nostalgia, but also the fact that like they are that fitting piece of him finding himself because of previous 2 movies and Avengers. Avengers is who he is. Like that's how we know him. He's like, oh, he's a Spider-Man, but his whole life's centered around like being an Avenger. But this is him actually learning how to be really Spider-Man. and what that all comes with.
Yeah, cool. So number 6, I'm gonna go the original Spider-Man 2002.
Would you?
So yeah, I really like this movie. Obviously, for its time, just a goddamn masterpiece. But we are comparing it against all these movies that have came out. So some of the web swinging, some of the fight scenes aren't that amazing, especially with the CGI at the time. But what a great intro, right? I mean, this is at a time where this kicked everything off. We could say, right? It's this and X-Men
Hmm.
right there. For what it set the tone for what comic book movies have been for the past 24 years. So it is kind of amazing in that sense. But if we're gonna, sit here and nitpick and, put these up against each other, I think this is where it belongs on my list.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man, he has the organic web slinging, which in No Way Home they kind of both are grossed out at. Tom Holland and Garfield's Spider-Man are grossed out at that. And in the comics, he has like the mechanic. He has the devices. So like when it coming out, they decided to go with that route. It's what Sam Raimi. I mean, Sam Raimi has a big horror background, so it doesn't really surprise me that he decided to go that like kind of grosser to think about way.
Yeah.
But then Brand New Day kind of touches on it and kind of how evolution of a spider into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the OG. Really, really well done. Really set like a footprint of like comic book movies into like America's mind. Whew. For number 5, that's where I'm going to put Homecoming.
Yeah.
I think Homecoming is really effective. I really like it. Yeah, there's really nothing. I think I already spoke about what I
Yeah.
liked about it and everything. So yeah,
Yeah. I think Vulture is probably one of my favorite villains, at least throughout all the Spider-Man movies. I think he really brings this one home too in the end. And I think this was the perfect, let's skip the origin story, right? But let's give Peter a real struggle and help him find what it means to, you know, be Peter Parker while also trying to balance being Spider-Man, with he always talks about the Stark internship and kind of how to be a superhero, right? How to help be the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, but not get your way in over your head, which he ends up doing, obviously.
yeah. Well, yeah, and then he loses all his fancy gear
Yeah.
because he gets it in Civil War while he's still young, and yeah, I think Marvel's done a really good way. And of course, like with Sony, I think it's good that Sony has like the rights and they share it with them because I think if not, and if Disney gets a little bit too much control, then who knows how it goes because Sony has to make their own movies. Like they pretty much made that as part of the deal.
Yeah.
And then like forcing him to become his own way. Really good collaboration on both parts. That started off really well with Homecoming.
Yeah. I mean, I know it doesn't count as part of it either, but the intro in Civil War, right, is so
Yeah.
iconic. And for him to finally be in the MCU, I kind of count it as part of this movie with the whole intro scene and him coming back from Germany and fighting with Iron Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, just so iconic after people have been waiting so long to see him on the big screen with, our heroes.
Number 4, that's where I'm going to put Spider-Man 2.
Hey, man, I'm number 4,
Oh, yeah. My bad.
but I'm going to put Spider-Man 2 there. But yeah, a very iconic movie. I think this is where Raimi really stepped up. And then obviously we know what he did in the third one after such a great movie. He took the first one, everything that was great about it, and just really brought it all home together. Otto Octavius is such a good villain in this movie. Cares for Peter, but obviously the inhibitor chip is really messing with his head. Yeah, I haven't seen this one in a long time, but I do remember liking this the best out of all the Sam Raimi ones.
Yeah. It's the most romantic one as well. Like the connection is like way better in this one. Yeah. He's such a good Spider-Man in this one. Like the city loves him, feels the most connected to New York in this one. Tobey Maguire does. And he's older in this, so he's no longer in high school as well. I think that's also why it's like, okay, I could believe Tobey Maguire's old ass now,
Yeah.
being at this age. Doc Ock so good. James Franco, I see this scene so much of like him hitting like the thing on like the he hits like 10 different vents and like falls to the ground. And I don't know why it's so funny, but I think it's just because I see a bunch of memes with that, but that's like lit in my head.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. He gets absolutely clotheslined and just
Yeah.
starts flying to the ground.
Yeah. I'm like, all right. Yeah.
All right, number 3 should be interesting.
Yeah. Number 3, I don't think we're entirely going to agree on this, but you have a veto. So, like, I don't think it matters. I'm going to put Across the Spider-Verse.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. Yep. I'm doing it. if this says how much I like Brand New Day, this should say something. Across the Spider-Verse, I think, is a near perfect animation film, and I like it so much. Such a cool like interloping of all the Spidey going after each other. It's taking them a decade to fucking make their third one finally that will come out next year, but everyone's looking forward to it. And if the third one's anything like the first and second, it probably will go down as my favorite trilogy of all time. Don't get me wrong, I really love this movie.
Yeah.
Like I absolutely love this movie.
No, yeah. At this point, it's basically just personal preference whether you prefer a live action or an animated.
Yeah,
They're all
yeah,
such amazing movies. Personally, I like Across a little bit better than Into, but that's just because I really like Spider-Man 2099. I really like Spider-Punk, who they introduce. I really like who's the depressed one, the Scarlet Spider, who they introduce. I like them getting into all the different versions of Spider-Man a little bit more than they did in the first one. But again, that's just personal preference for me. So yeah, number 2, I'm gonna have to put Spider-Man Brand New Day here.
yeah, which I agree with.
I don't want to talk about it too much because I know we're going to do it on the podcast here in the next week or two.
Yeah,
But yeah, just really well done. Like we talked about in the beginning, super grounded movie. Just feels like New York and Spider-Man all throughout the movie. Just, yeah, I'm still I just saw it last night and I'm still just kind of in shock and awe.
yeah. I remember the first trailer coming out, and I was a little bit against it just because of how gray the trailer looked.
Yeah.
But they took that advice, or they took that and just changed the film or the editing room switched it up, and it looks masterful. Like the
Yeah.
coloring in the movie is the most colorful out of all the Tom Holland movies, of any Spider-Man movie, other than of course the animated, where they do a lot more with the colors, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then a lot of people thought there was too many characters. I don't like they were fit so well into the story where it doesn't feel like they're forced into it, and they make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
The coolest that the Hulk has looked since the original Avenger. So
I
that's
was
pretty cool.
I was so concerned a couple months ago when they mentioned Yelena, Punisher, and Hulk being in this. I was like, this movie's going to be a nightmare, especially with all the villains they had announced. But it was done so masterfully. None of the cameos were forced and they all had purpose in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. They listen, they did a street level Spider-Man, and then it also straight up looks like a comic book in a movie.
Yeah.
And so cool. All right. That leads it to only one other choice at number 1, and that being Into the Spider-Verse. This is a 5-star film for me. Such a creative animation style when it first came out. Honestly, I don't remember hearing anything about this until it came out specifically that weekend. And then I saw it and I was just like, oh wow.
Yeah.
Like that is cool as hell. Like, and I wanted to and I went to go rewatch it. The soundtrack is crazy in this film too.
Yeah. Did we watch this together in theaters? I don't
I think
remember.
we watched it across together.
Okay. I remember just sitting down, not knowing much about what was going to happen with this movie. I didn't really know anything about it was coming out or anything, like you said. And that opening Marvel logo came across, in the comic book looking animation. And I was like, this might be really neat. And yeah, it was incredible.
Yeah. Dude, I remember I listened to that soundtrack on repeat for a whole year. That soundtrack is so good.
Across is too. I'll let you know.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I just think that first one for me is so iconic.
Yeah.
And just the way they introduced it, right away. Again, no origin story. I'm really into it, and then they just throw you right into the whole thing, all different types of Spider-Man. Taking them forever to make this third one, but it's animation at the end of the day, so it's
take
it's
your
not
time.
like the actors are gonna look older.
Take as long as you need. I'm excited. I'm ready. I'll be ready when you're ready.
I think it's going to be really good again, of course. Yeah. So overall, we ranked it number 1, Into the Spider-Verse. Number 2, Brand New Day. Number 3, Across the Spider-Verse. Number 4, Spider-Man 2. Number 5, Spider-Man Homecoming. Number 6, Spider-Man. Number 7, No Way Home. 8, The Amazing Spider-Man. Number 9, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Number 10, Far From Home. And 11, Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, man. Cool.
This is almost exactly my list. So I'm super happy with it.
Yeah, it's good.
I think there's a big jump between No Way Home and The Amazing Spider-Man, for me at least.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, thanks for listening this week, guys, where we talked about Jordan Peele, different Marvel castings, and then did our Spider-Man ranking. Yeah, thanks for listening. Hope you guys keep listening.
Yep. See you guys.
See ya.